fuck is that?
Oh, that's totally fucked up. How do you think it got that way? There's probably a name for that, but I don't know. What would you call it?
I'm really confused. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's What the Fuck, happening to YouTube atheist community and stick have fun. Yeah, right. Gotta sell it, right? Sell. So anyway, that's how I guess we will start this edition of What the Fuck. Great Text did a video mocking the Amazing Atheist a little bit. So I did watch an Amazing Atheist video where he's actually doing a commercial. He actually does a commercial. I mean, it's a commercial for two products, a DVD and lemonade. And that's all there is. There's nothing else. It's like he didn't even try to put something else in the video of substance. Just gave you straight commercial video. No content, just a commercial. That's it. Just a commercial. And yeah, so what? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter, right? There's no point in critiquing what people click on, what people turn the channel deliberately and say, I'm going to watch that. I like that. And so what's the point of saying something like, oh, ain't it awful? No, because he's delivering to people exactly what they fucking want. They don't care. It's worth it. They're getting what they want. And that's just the fact of it. So there's nothing to critique. There's nothing to criticize. There's nothing to complain about. Because why should he have to explain it to them? Why should he have to actually make a video saying, you know, you are really assholes to fall for this bullshit? To just placate any assholery. I can do anything, and you'll just say, fine, go ahead and do that. Go ahead and lie to me. Go ahead and try to seduce me. Go ahead and manipulate me. Go ahead and resell me something. Yeah, you buy it for $5,000 and then resell it to me for $10,000, and I'll consider you one of my best friends. Just this is the human race, though. This is what people live on. This is how people live, and yeah, I mean, some people are just better at prancing around in pink dresses than other people. I mean, they're not inhibited. They'll not only want to do it for some reason, but they can. And yeah, so you can just mock them and say, oh, God, they're pussies, or they're weirdos, or they're queer, or they're some other kind of thing. Yeah, and you just kind of say, oh, yeah, I'll put a label on that. But that's stupid. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to critique but the audience. The audience is the only thing that deserves insult. This is what human beings consume. This is what human beings are capable of. This is what human beings are. And so you look at YouTube, and you look at cable television, and you look at the news, and you look at Fox, you look at all this shit, and it's shit because this is what people want. They want Obama lies. They want Bush lies. They want bullshit. They want nonsense. They want fakes and phonies and frauds. And, oh my. And yeah, that's the game. And that's the game we're in. Is the tiny percentage of human beings who don't find that appealing, find it revolting and depressing, it's soul-sucking. They just feel their soul being just sucked out of them. The very meaning, or any kind of shred of purpose or function or conceptual integrity to breathing another breath is just pulled out of them. With each one of these insults to anything beautiful, anything decent, anything with any kind of substance or integrity, as the world just turns into, gummy bears made out of shit. And, that's what this audience wants. Feed them that. Give them what they want. Gummy shit. So anyway, yeah, it's just discouraging. But that's, I've sort of fell into this job where I've assigned myself this job of, having to fix what I consider to be fundamentally broken. And none of the fixes can be done by me alone in my garage. I can't create a an anti-greenhouse gas machine or something in my porch and fix the problem for myself and the human race. I mean, all the problems in our world exist because of the behavior of other people. They don't exist because of my initiation. I'm not creating a next generation to even have to have a civilized world for them to live in. I wouldn't initiate it. I wouldn't subsidize it. I wouldn't support it. I wouldn't defend it. So my philosophy is not going to get represented because I'm not in control of the mechanism producing it. The Frankenstein castle is up on the hill, somewhere over there, whatever, and it produces the monsters, and I'm just a representative for the monsters saying, well, how do we solve this monster problem? That's the dilemma. I mean, the only way we can solve it is through the castle, through the village that's supporting the castle's production. And so that's all we have to do. We have to sit there in our little Frankenstein position and go into this gummy shit world where we are considered the ugly, the evil, the dregs, the caustic pieces of crap, the shit gummy bears to them. And we have to go into that alien world and communicate with those shit eaters and explain to them how, they're really the Frankensteins, that Frankenstein is beautiful and you are the ugly shit, and we've got to stop your ugly shit production machine. Because there's no other solution to this problem. But I don't want to get into that subject. I mean, obviously there's a myriad of problems, all on the scale of problem. And like with all problems, there's levels of solution. So I've made this argument before that we should all agree logically that the straightest line solution is the best solution, the solution with the least friction, no downsides. It gets you from A to B, straight line. There's no problem. It's always preferable to take that direct route if it has no liabilities. It uses less gas. It gets you there faster. It satisfies all the conditions of problem solving without any liability, without any risk. So that's the one you would choose. You choose the best choice. And the best choice for the life dilemma, for the circumstance that we exist in, the biology, the reality of the mechanism, the need production machine, the leaking sewage dam, however we want to describe what it is that we're living with, this imperfection, is to just get rid of the need for it. Just eviscerate the need, and then it doesn't need to exist. It doesn't serve a purpose of any kind, because there's no instrument of saying it has to be. It needs to be, and the only need exists in human beings. So you just say, just stop human beings from needing this stuff to be here, and it doesn't need to be here anymore. We're the only thing keeping it here, as a premise, as a purpose, as a function. It's just some delusion in people's heads that it's serving God's purpose, or it's the sacred biology, and therefore it must exist somehow. Because if it doesn't exist, that somehow your shoes will melt. I don't know what people fear, that if humanity doesn't exist 1,000 years from now, somehow that perception hurts their sensibilities. And the easy way to get around that is just to get rid of their hurt sensibilities, get rid of their need for it. So it's like you just get rid of the hunger. So you want to solve the dilemma of needing to eat food to be comfortable, you just end hunger, and then you don't need to eat the food. That's not the perfect metaphor. But anyway, the point I was trying to get to, was that, it's preferable to go the straight line. So I'm going to argue for the straight line. But there's lots of these, less straight lines to the solution. And these less straight lines have to do with obliging people to take it up a notch, to have something called a rational conversation about reality, not all these irrational ones. We're spending all our time disproving the existence of Bugs Bunny, or disproving the gingerbread house, or disproving leprechauns, or disproving all these other myths and nonsense that people just believe. They just pull it out of their ass and squeeze it into their brain and say, there, I have shit for brain. I have nonsense in my head. Prove me wrong. Prove it's shit. And then we're just wasting all our time doing that rather than actually doing the work of saying, well, here's the system. The system is this stick and that piece of stick are running a race, and we want a fair race, and see, that stick's further ahead, so here's the system. So yeah, we'll fix that. We'll just take this little stick and move him back to this stick, and see, now they're starting at the same position. And, you know, now we can conduct a game that they're going to play, or a contest, or whatever we want to do. And, you know, we're going to have a system and rules, and we're going to have some sort of, there'll be efficiency in that, but you take out the friction. I mean, when you put these gears together and chaotically, arbitrarily, you just throw it on a spool. You don't care whether it's a 5-inch gear or a 3-inch gear or a 10-inch gear, or it has 500 teeth per inch or 7,000 teeth per inch or 1 tooth per inch. Then yeah, the whole thing starts grinding, and it starts eating gears all over the place, and teeth are flying off all over the place, and it's friction, friction, friction. And you want to fix any of that, well then yeah, you have to communicate with these other human beings, and you have to have some procedure to do that. You have to have a civilization to do that in. And here, because all these morons with their simple jargon and their cartoon perceptions of reality, they think they can have all that by just, you know, everybody's just going to sit in their yard and say, I love everybody, and everything's just fine, and they don't have to think about infrastructure and how you finance it and how you maintain the environment and how you stop people from, you know, some guy could move next door to me and start raising pigs next to me, and my life is ruined, my property is devalued, blah, 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 if I had any. You know, no, you have to have rules, you have to have a system. And nobody wants to talk about how you do that, how you create rules that are navigatable and that are fair, and we can do that. But no one wants to have that conversation. So anyway, in Stick Am last night, you know, the cliche circumstance, the subject of representative democracy came up, and you know your cliche truther, you know, blinded by the Fed, blinded by jargon, blinded by simple notions of what's broken, you know, who every other word has to use idiotic concepts like freedom that don't really have any meaning. You don't sit there and, nothing's free, and no systems. Systems are exactly the opposite. They're an explicit and careful definition of the limitations and the confinements that will make it run efficiency. So the pistons in the car are not free to shoot out of the cylinder wall, because yeah, the engine's not going to work anymore if they're free to go wherever the fuck they want and do whatever the fuck they want, so to speak. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, but it's just the typical bullshit. So you present a simple, rational augmentation to the existing system. You say, look, you can get rid of the geographic circumstance where we're represented geographically, and instead we can be represented ideologically, and that we can all win congressional elections. Nobody loses a congressional election because no one gets into the Congress, sorry about the noise, without an affirmative vote. And we can have that system. We can have it tomorrow. With instant runoff voting, we get rid of the spoilers, we get rid of the party system, and we have a real Congress that has real debates, where all the people have a voice, where they all get to sit at the table and they all get their turn to speak, and we all get a chance to persuade each other. And it's not a mob that gets to control the circumstance. It's everybody gets their little piece of control, and everybody gets their fair run in the race. They get a fair shot at getting to the finish line first and winning the argument. And this is just basic stuff. I mean, you got to be able to do this first. I mean, this is the first thing. The Frankensteins and the different village types of people. Our diversity is never going to find solution if we don't have some sort of system of an embassy, some kind of way to negotiate with each other by some sort of rules that allow us to define the rules of how we're going to engage with each other. And this is not that complicated, but that's the step one of civilization, is giving people this fair fight. I mean, if it's not a fair fight, then you're just going to create real hostility, real dissension, real friction potential. And that's all we're generating, is more and more friction, because we can't do the simplest things to say, yeah, this is a simple augmentation. And so the naysayers just come out of the woodwork every time somebody suggests to build something They just, it's again, we're back to this dilemma where it's just so much easier for me to break something than it is for somebody to make something. I mean, I just put my foot through this thing and it's broken. It's probably already had it now. It's only got one crack in it. So I'm not going to break it for no point. But the point is, it's easy just to, just stomp on shit. It's broken. That's it. It's gone. And yeah, it's so much more work to do the actual construction, to actually build it, to manufacture, to go through the procedure, figuring out what'll work and what won't work, and to do all the system analytics and design work. And yeah, that's just a fact of reality, and that's got to be understood by people. That part of a fair fight is recognizing that simple truth, and recognizing that if you're going to tear something down, you have an obligation to show that you have a better solution, that you have a better answer to the problem, something better than life is unfair or some other kind of bullshit that people just, they always throw at these problems. No, you can't fix anything. Everybody's a crook. Everybody's this. Everybody that. It's just this simplistic nonsense that's unproven, undemonstrated by any evidence. They just say it like it's like that's the way the reality is, and it's not how reality is. Everything could change for the better tomorrow if everybody just looked in that direction. If we could all just turn all the little quanta humans and point them all in the same kind of objective and say, there it is, right there. Let's all just walk 100 feet together in one direction, and we've got it. And we can't have that happen because these naysayers, these terror downers, they every single time, they don't want ever to see any movement in any direction. Because they're afraid of somebody doing something that might improve something, because I guess then they wouldn't have anything to complain about. I don't even know what the psychology is. It's just so fucking stupid. I mean, I understand being hostile to people that have some sort of implicit or explicit motive, some end that you don't like. And so you don't want to give them even one step in the direction of this end you don't want to go to. So maybe that's the intimidation, is that people always see it as, well, if you give them that, they're going to go that, and then finally they're going to get to a rule that says I can't be a lying piece of shit anymore. Somehow that my cheap and idiotic life is going to be on the cutting room floor. Their life is so unproductive, so usury and takery, that they know if anybody starts doing any real system construction, if they start really making real houses, that their little fucking shanty lean-tos, their exploitation life isn't going to be justifiable anymore in a civilization. They're afraid of civilization. They don't want to live in a civilization. They want to live in shit because they've got an advantage in the shit. And that's all it's about. They don't want to lose what they're taking. They don't want to lose their right to steal the candy from the store, or whatever the game. So anyway, sorry, I didn't... cutting grass. Really not that much grass out here, right? Well, it's a tractor, so I guess it's not cutting grass. They're plowing the field or something. Yeah, who wants to be breathing all that shit? I mean, literally, horse shit. I mean, it's a horse pasture. Yeah, I'm not going to stay out here and breathe that. Alright, anyways, enough of a video. Sorry about the noise. And such. Really quite irritating. Yeah, because it's really nice out here, but that noise is just obnoxious. Oh, so it was just a video. Oh. Ew. Yeah, people really shouldn't be allowed to do that in public. Jeez, that's crazy. Huh. Cloudy, cloudy, puff, puff.